All right, good morning, everybody. Today is day 1 of week 6 of digital learning. So that is pretty exciting that we've made it this far. You guys are doing great, and today we're going to be talking about ecological succession. So here we go.
So, we love Disney movies, and we have to say, Lion King is one of our favorites. And like a lot of Disney movies, it has a happy ending. And we're not going to give spoilers, just in case you're one of the few people left in the world that hasn't seen The Lion King. If so, you
If you're one of those people, take advantage of the quarantine right now. It's a must-see.
need to go see it. Anyway, with that happy ending that we do love, you start to see all this life growing back at the end of The Lion King. The sun comes out, all these plants start growing, happy music plays. There were animals that had disappeared, and they come back. I never really understood where they went, but they come back. You start seeing these small plants growing in where there hadn't been any plants for a while. And being a biology teacher, everything is destined to have a biology reference. So here's what it reminds me of. Ecological succession. Although the movie is kind of like an ultra-fast, impossible ecological succession. It's not really that fast in real life. Most dictionaries define succession as the following of a person or a thing after another in an order or a sequence. Well, ecological succession, it's that. But in terms of ecology, ecological succession is a process over time of organisms in an ecological community.
Okay, so the word succession just means to come after something else, and it normally goes in a logical format. So like you can see the successor of like this king right here giving the scepter to the child, and the child would then succeed him on the throne. So ecological succession is the same idea, but it's going to be with ecology. So instead of like a king passing on ruling to the child, it is instead just like the natural progression of organism growth and biodiversity over time.
So, what's a community? Well, in ecology, we have different levels of organization. We have a living organism as our first level, like a hippo. And then we have a population.
So you notice that organism was just one hippo, population is many hippos, but still just hippos.
Which is when you have the same species of an organism in a given area. So, for example, a population of hippos. Same species, so that's one population. And then we have a community.
A community is when other species get to be a part of it as well. So now it's not just one hippo, the organism, multiple hippos, the hippo population, but it's now a community that includes lions and giraffes.
They can involve many populations living together in an area. So now we have hippos, lions, giraffes, and don't forget plants, because they can be a population too. Trees and shrubs.
Not only are plants and flowers and different things their own populations, they're so important to the community because of what we learned last week when we talked about the trophic levels and producers and how that's the bottom of that energy level pyramid, and it's the most important part because it feeds everything on its way up. So don't forget about your producers.
Now, there are more levels beyond the community level, but this is our focus right now. Now, there are two types of succession that we're going to briefly talk about. One is called primary succession. In primary succession, the area that this is happening to is brand new. At least in the...
Remember, primary means first, so primary succession would be succession that comes first, brand new.
Sense that you're usually talking about an area that it doesn't have any soil, so this usually has to be a special circumstance. An example could be a volcano lava flow that now has left this new area with no soil present. And usually you have a pioneer species, which that's the name for species that will colonize the area first. It sounds kind of exciting. Pioneer species and primary succession. Well, they can be organisms like...
So primary succession is a special circumstance because that means that no soil existed before. So honestly, the best example we can use is when a volcano erupts and creates new land. that's when primary succession is going to occur because no soil was there previously.
Lichen. If you're unsure about what lichen is, you need to Google it. It's likely you've seen lichen before. Moss is another potential pioneer. After pioneer species colonize the area, they slowly break down rock into smaller, more plant-friendly substrate, and over time they can contribute more organic matter in this newly formed soil, which will help support all kinds of plants. Small vascular plants like grasses and plants that you might consider weeds, those will come in, and shrubs can follow, and then trees. All this time, animals can be moving into the area, and how long this takes, it can vary. It's often hundreds of years before you get your full climax community going. And if you're wondering, why this sequence with the plants?
So realizing that primary succession takes a really long time. When those pioneer species come in, they're like moss and lichen, and they take hundreds of thousands of years to break down the rock into usable soil for other plants like the grasses, the bushes, and eventually these tall trees to be able to come in. So it takes a very long time with primary succession.
Why doesn't it just stop with the grass? Well, keep in mind that as other plants come in, these bigger plants, you're going to start to see more competition for space and resources. I mean, think about how it would be by the time trees come in. As the trees grow larger, they could block some of the light that small plants underneath them might be dependent on.
Remember, if they don't have their light, they're unable to complete photosynthesis, so they can't make their own glucose, aka their own food. So if they don't have sunlight, then these plants are going to die.
And as new larger plant species come in, this competition can bring about a new order. And if you're wondering, where did these plants even come from? Well, there's so many ways that seeds can be dispersed. Wind, water, animals. Check out our plant reproduction video for more information about how these plants could actually have come into the area. Now for secondary succession. Similar to
the word secondary means second, so it's going to come after primary.
Primary succession, it follows a typical ecological sequence. With secondary succession, I like to think second, because it's like coming back again a second time. And what I mean by that is it's usually you're talking about an area that once had plants and animals and a full ecological community going on, but then you had a disturbance, an ecological disturbance, like a forest fire or a flood, a tornado. Actually, it doesn't even have to be a natural disaster. Human activity can be involved with secondary succession too. Regardless of the type of event, in secondary succession, the soil is still there. And so that's kind of a big key point here because you actually have...
So the huge difference between primary and secondary succession is whether or not there's soil. If there is no soil, if it is brand new land, like a lava explosion that creates and cools the new land, that's primary because it's just rock. There's no soil. Plants need actual soil to grow. But secondary succession, the dead giveaway is if there's soil. So if a tornado comes through or deforestation, we cut down all the trees, yes, the vegetation could be gone, but the soil is still there. So the thousands of years it took the pioneer species, like the lichen and the moss in primary succession, to break it down into the soil, that step doesn't happen in secondary succession because the soil is already there. So they're ready to go with starting new producer and plant life populations and a community eventually.
Have soil to grow in. So you don't have to have this really hardy pioneer species because in secondary succession, your first species there might be small plants. There's already soil present. Secondary succession will then follow a similar sequence to primary succession after that point. Since secondary succession involves soil already being available, it's much more likely to be a faster process than primary succession. An important thing to remember about ecological succession is that it really shows diversity of organisms in an ecological community over a period of time, and usually it's a long period of time. Ecological succession over time can support an ecological community that continues to increase in biodiversity, and biodiversity is a beautiful thing. Check.
All right, so we've talked about biodiversity all year. It is so important for species and organisms and populations and communities and ecosystems to have this biodiversity because that's what enables things to be successful in life. So, ecological succession is a pretty cool way to see that biodiversity as well. So, that's what we got for you today. Go ahead and continue on to those questions. Bye.